Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. Sorry I got to do this in my truck. It's a little windy out and the GoPro doesn't have a good mic on it when wind's blowing, and unfortunately I don't know what's going on with my Canon. If it's bright outside, I've got to use filters. I can't get it to properly auto adjust the brightness, and even though it's got a stabilizing lens and I'm not moving around, it's just like the background constantly does this. It's very annoying. So we're gonna do this in here real quick. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for the birthday wishes. It was a good birthday. Went out and had a nice dinner with friends. Yesterday we went to the in-laws and had cake and some more food, and overall it was a great birthday, and I want to thank all of you again for the wishes, and overall good presents, good day. As the title of the video says, Nudura is getting delivered this week. I called up Brian last week and said the subfloor is almost done. Go ahead and let's arrange something. And he contacted me about an hour ago and said that they're a little bit busy today, being Monday, with shipping out orders and all of that stuff. So he's going to go ahead and get all that taken care of and bring everything in for tomorrow. Now, again, we are going with Nudura 4-inch blocks with a taper block on the very last row. And I know there's people out there that are like, just go with 6 inches. It's easier to pour. The concrete price really isn't that much of a difference. And you guys are right. But we've already had it stamped and engineered and approved. So to go with 6 inches now, almost 11 feet tall, the engineer's not going to like that. And the county's not going to like that to change that, because maybe the footers can't support the additional weight. I don't know, but we're not going to change it. Not to mention, we've already got the subfloor with the 2 inches over, so we have to use a 4-inch block at this point. I think the Nudura will be better anyway, because the Nudura doesn't have as many things on the inside like the HV clips that Fox had for all of the vertical connection points. You're deleting a lot of steel in there basically, so the concrete should flow pretty nice. I think our concrete mix is pretty good. The wall mix with number 8 aggregate only flows very easily, and we all know my concrete supplier usually puts things a little bit more on the wetter side, so it'll flow down in there fine. The only thing that we do have to do this time is make sure we find a better vibrator. One, I need a vibrator that's longer, that can go down in there instead of just 7 feet. And number 2, one that's not so industrial and powerful that it wants to vibrate the blocks loose, because it's vibrating all of that water out of the aggregate and then really putting pressure on things. So we've got to find out where we can get a better vibrator for that. Now again, on that last row, when I said the taper blocks, we are doing that again. So that way the upper top plate has more concrete to bolt down onto, instead of just having a 4 inches of concrete where a top plate can like rock, you know, side to side because of the floor or the roof trusses that are going to be on there. We're going to go with a taper block, get more concrete, so that way your top plate has more surface area to push down onto, more solid surface area, instead of just pushing down on 2 and 5/8 inches of foam on either side of it. And again, I think that's going to be a lot more better of a surface area and push force, if you will, for the trusses to sit on, with a lot more concrete being a lot more stable at that roof connection point. Aaron and I did get a lot knocked out. The floor joists, they are all in. All of the blocking is done. The only thing that I have to knock out today is a few more panels of subfloor and 9 more floor joists webbing going down. One thing, unfortunately, we do have to do though is I've got a whole bunch of rebar left over, like 128 pieces or something. Unfortunately, they're not that long. I bought 20 footers when I cut all of the verticals that are going up into the wall, and those verticals were basically 10'8" plus the overhang where the first row of Nudura is going to lock into. So I've got all of this rebar left over that's only like 8 feet or something, and I've got to use it up. It's probably going to be a pain in the butt to use it for all of the horizontals going around each row. Technically, as long as you use the proper overlap, which sucks because you need something like 30 inches of overlap on each end. So you're taking an 8-foot piece, which is 96 inches, cutting it down to 30 inches on each side, basically, it's just basically an overlap on top of an overlap going all the way around. But I've got the rebar. I might as well use it. It should work out. We'll see. If not, then I've got to go buy a good $600-700 worth of rebar in 20 footers, which will go all the way around the horizontals. And then I will need some 10 footers to go for all the verticals. Now, the Nudura is shorter. The Fox blocks are 16 inches tall, and we were going to go with 8 rows, and that is 10 foot 8 inches. The Nudura are 18 inches tall, and we're only going to do 7 rows, which means we're now going from 10 foot 8 down to 10 foot 6. So we're only losing 2 inches of ceiling height, which you're not even going to notice 2 inches, you know, that high up. But it does make, hopefully, for a little bit easier of an install to do 7 rows instead of 8. And again, rebar wise, I'm probably still going to buy 20 footers and probably just cut those directly in half, so I've got 10 feet. Yes, that's going to be 6 inches short from the top, but code technically you need to be 2 inches away anyway from outside surfaces of concrete, and if it's ground contact you need to be 3 inches away. So yeah, we'll be an additional 3 inches away, but with that extra reinforcement rebar with a taper block up top around that last row, I think we'll be fine. It's not like the top is just going to break and fall off, especially because you're going from 4 inches out to like 6 to 7 inches of concrete. It's still going to be fine, especially with a horizontal piece of rebar in there. So we'll see what happens. Again, like I said, when all the Nudura gets here, we'll lay out the first row. If the 8 footers aren't working and we got to go buy more 20 footers, then we'll need 20 footers anyway for the verticals that are going up. So we're going to get knocking at that, finish this floor once and for all. And then I did go ahead and buy 4 new stringers, unfortunately. It was $225 total for 4 new pieces. We may not use all 4. A 2.5 inch piece of tread is pretty thick, and to have at least 3 stringers there would be fine. I was noticing yesterday at my in-laws, they also have 2x10 steps, and they only have 3 stringers over 8 feet. So they only have basically 2 stringers per 4 feet, and a 2x10 is still pretty solid when you stand on it. It's got a little bit of bounce. It's not the greatest, but I think it'll be fine, especially with our treads being so thick and so wide. We may get away with just 3 stringers, so I'll go ahead and get these cut. We did go ahead and buy a new jigsaw from Milwaukee, since that's what all my batteries use. I got a few different blades that I can choose from, but I really think a jigsaw is going to be a lot better than a circular saw. I think it's a lot more controlled. It doesn't blast sawdust everywhere up as you're trying to like look down and look at the line that you're cutting. I am going to go ahead and put probably a board or something metal up that is going to run in the way of the jigsaw, so that way the jigsaw has something to butt up next to as it's running down the line and cutting it out. But I think the jigsaw is going to be a lot more precise and be a little bit easier to handle, especially when you're looking down at what material you're cutting. I think it'll be a little bit better. So if we've got time today, we'll knock out some stringers, and we'll go ahead and finish the subfloor once and for all. And tomorrow we can start hanging Nudura and finally get a look at how big this house is going to be and what it's going to look like. Hey everybody, welcome back. Sorry for that rain delay yesterday. Not really much we could do. It pretty much rained all night until about 8 or 9 o'clock, and by then it's obviously pitch black out here. But as you can see, we've got all of the subfloor done up until this point. I don't really know again where that header's going to go across, so I need to know where that'll be before these joists get hung, and then we'll know where we need to cut strips, because obviously that's long for probably maybe 2 pieces will do it, and it's probably under 16 feet. So we'll probably bring an 8-footer to here over, which I think 8 foot's not going to make it. So we're probably going to have to go from there to there, and then a panel from there over to somewhere in here, and then maybe you'll have a 2 or 3 footer over here. But we'll figure that out later. I'm probably going to have to go buy more. Unfortunately, I am just this panel left here, which will probably be that little sliver over there. It's only like 38 inches or something, and it's the only one that I got out of all of this stuff that actually has a tongue and groove that will lock in to all of the panels on this side over here, which still has their groove. So we'll see what we got to do. Right now, we just need to finish bolting the rest of these in. As you can see, I stopped right there, so we've got about 20 more holes to drill to bolt this beam together, and I've got extra bolts that should, by code, or I think by the manufacturer, you should have 2 half-inch bolts that go into those 2 holes going all the way through the posts here. And yes, I still need to Tapcon the bottom bolts in, but we've got all those down there, and we can knock that out today too. So probably finish everything up in here with that and the posts, and then for the rest of the day we'll probably be working on these stringers to see if we can actually get them done. And look at that, looks like Brian is here right on time with Nudura. Looks like his trailer is completely full, but that is awesome. That is an entire house sitting on just his little flatbed that he tows, as opposed to the Fox Blocks. We had at least 5 or 6 load of my little trailer, and I rented a Penske truck, the largest box truck that you can have, and I think we had 22 pallets in each box truck, and I had to do that twice just for the blocks that you see here. And he's got all of those blocks there that are equal to this. The only difference is obviously there's a couple blocks here for the garage that were in there, but that's amazing that you can basically drop all those down and ship them so much easier than ones that are fully loaded. So I'm gonna go out there and help him, and let's get these things unloaded, and let's get them up here, and let's build a house. We just got all the Nudura delivered. It's all up there. And the other project I want to finish out for the day is to try and go ahead and start these stringers again. As you can see, I already recut one, and basically I just took my time cutting each one of these now individually. So before, instead of just running the template down and knocking them all at once and then cutting them, this time I actually measured back each one of them 10 inches, 7 3/4, cut it, remeasured, and then went ahead and started cutting these down. So I think what the problem else was, when I put the template on, basically I wasn't getting the tip of the template exactly where it needed to be. It may have been too far or too far in, and that was changing some of the stair layout. So this time for this stringer, I know it's 100% perfect. Now, the only thing that I'm noticing, as you can see, is this board is really badly bent. It's definitely curving this way. So I'm having to pull this board back out, screw it down. That way I can copy the template over to here, because obviously right now that's not going to work, that it's sticking too far out. But when I go to actually install this board, this one may actually need a 2x4 running down it as I pull this board next to this board and get this one straight. If I put a 2x4 on here and then unbolt this one from this one, this one should keep its original shape, which is to this one, which is a little bit more straight. So because if I try to put stairs on this one now, with this one going like this, that's obviously not gonna work out too well, even though the template is copied 100% because it's just trying to bow. So I might have to run to the store and grab some 2x4s to throw down here on this panel to get it a little bit straighter. As for the cutting, it seems to be going okay. Again, I did pick up a Milwaukee jigsaw. And I do have a router on the way now too. The problem is exactly what I thought was going to happen, and the exact same thing that is happening with the circular saw. This bottom here is the 100% precision line, while this up here is moving and the blade is bowing and pushing out. So each opposite side is not 100%. So when the router gets here, before I actually really install these stairs, I think what's going to have to happen is, as the router bit is closer down here and keeps its shape, if this top board is too far out this way, then the router will go ahead and cut that and take that down, and it'll follow the more precision line, which is on the bottom here, which is why I've got it turned upside down so I can transfer the line easier this way. So it's a good thing I got the router. Not sure why it's taking so long. This came within like a day or two, and the router was taking like a week and a half or something, but hopefully that'll be my solution to get these completely flat, both for the riser and both for the tread. Okay, so that worked a heck of a lot better. I really do like the jigsaw. Like I said, it throws almost no sawdust at your face. It's also not even loud. It's very quiet to operate. It's easier to look right over top of it and follow the blade and follow on your mark, so you can cut this a heck of a lot straighter. The only problem that I'm having with these two boards right now is they're dang near 100% right now as they're bolted down. But again, this top board has an absolute horrible bow. So I've got to take this bow out and get it a lot straighter. In fact, there's even still a slight bow this way. So it looks like both boards might be a little bit bent. But I got to basically stiffen this board up and reinforce it. I don't have any 2x4s, but maybe I can just throw some blocking down in it to keep it a little bit straighter. And only because of that, because this is the main board, this is kind of the template one now to use, since this is board number 1. So I want to get it a heck of a lot straighter before I start cutting the other two. If there is still a bow in any of these as I hang those stairs, it is going to make for the stairs basically being off, that the treads aren't going to be flat or that the risers are going to be pushed out. So that's going to be a problem. So that may have been the problem with the other ones. Actually, the boards may just all be bowed differently, therefore I didn't cut them differently, therefore I actually didn't mess up. It's just the fact that they're one sitting like this, and as it goes down towards the bottom, it may be cupping the bottom up while one's cupping down or something, and that may be why the stairs weren't doing good. So I may only end up using 3 stringers, and that's just going to take out a little bit more issues with things being off. So I don't know, maybe the middle one I'll double them up like this and bolt them together, so I'll still use all 4, but we'll have a real strong middle section. Yeah, let's go and use this template one more time, chalk these other 2 up, and yeah, maybe we'll do something like that, since those joist hangers, they do get nailed from one side or the other. So I can actually use 2 joist hangers on a double one like this, and again, make that middle section a little bit bigger, or a little bit thicker. So let's continue to knock these out and get some stair treads finally down today, so that we can get down into the basement with these. All right, everybody, it's getting a little late. Sun is completely down now, but just want to show you what I did real quick. We got the first few steps in, and the stringers so far have been working out okay. They're still not perfect, so when these treads come off one day, when we go to put in the final stairs, All of these are going to have to be basically sanded and stuff with a router, just like I said, basically on all the tops of the stringers, and pretty much along the back side too. So they're not 100%. They're a little rocky right now because the bottom stringers are not fully on the concrete. The back heels, if you will, are actually touching the concrete, so it's more like this. So I'm going to run my Sawzall down through there and basically cut that back heel off and get that to sit more flush onto the ground. And then, actually, I don't know if you actually have to bolt stairs down to concrete or not, but maybe they make a little L bracket that I can shoot in this way into the wood and shoot it down into the concrete just to make that a little bit more secure and stiffen it up, but we'll see. The other thing I knocked out real quick is I cut out this panel here to here and did the same on that side. So now this is exactly from here over to there. That's exactly 8 feet. So I can use one of those panels that I've already cut, or one of the subfloors, where the tongue is on this side. I'm sorry, the groove. The groove is on this side, that I can go ahead and run an 8-foot panel all the way across there, groove on that side, and that'll accept the next panel that comes in here with the tongue. Because this side over here, I'm just gonna cut with the saw, because as you can see, I have finally figured out where the header is going to go. So from there to there is the header. That meets more than code. I think it's about 7'3", which pretty much lines up with the end of step number 3 as you come on up. So it'll be plenty of headroom when you go down in there. So we'll set that LVL tomorrow. We'll set these 2 LVLs tomorrow. And then again, 8-footer across here. And then we'll have to make some more panels that go in here where the tongue is on this side that'll fit all in there. The only thing that's an issue is that panel there, since I cut it, has no tongue and groove anymore. And same for that. There's no tongue and groove right there. So this in here obviously isn't a problem because that's a whopping 5 inches, 5.5 inches wide. So it doesn't matter if a panel doesn't fit tongue and groove in there. But because there's a 16-inch section in there that doesn't have a tongue and groove now when I put that 8-footer across, I think what I'm going to have to do is maybe put a 2x4 running across, bolt down or screw down a 2x4 that way. Maybe screw the 2x4 or toenail it into the sides of these floor joists. And then when I set that OSB subfloor on there, I've got something to nail down into. So that way it gives a little bit more security there so that this isn't wanting the bow. But it is only one floor joist, and it's a very short run. So I'm not that worried about it. But like I said, kind of a success to get these in. I ran out of screws. That's why I stopped early tonight and just kind of focused on where the header is going to go. So tomorrow we'll need to cut some more boards. Have to go get another box of screws. So since these are all just going to be temporary, re-shim or cut the back of that heel so these are a lot more secure and down onto the ground. And that should wrap up getting up here. And then tomorrow we can go ahead and start figuring out all this Nudura product. Stairs are now completely done, as you just saw. The LVL, the header is all done. The only thing left, unfortunately, is 2 little sections from here to here. It's about 12 feet or so. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go buy 2 more panels because again, I need the tongue on this side to fit into the groove. And then we've got over probably 3 inches of LVL right here that I can just nail down. So I'm gonna have to find 2 more panels, cut them down and fill this in, and then this will be 100% done. I did for right now, just because it was quick and easy, and I want to get started on the Nudura, which I'm sure you're all waiting for, is each tread there, I just threw some shims under there, so now the stair's not rocking side to side anymore, and it's a lot more stable. It's still not 100%. I'm sure when we build this basement wall right here, and I run a board down there, we'll probably be able to nail into here too and keep this stringer a lot more secure. And then this one will probably have a wall, maybe only about 5 or 6 feet down or so, and then we'll have a hand railing down, so that way you can just kind of look down here and look around the corner, which we actually had an old house set up like that. And then this wall here, wherever this wall starts that goes this way, we can either put a couch against it if we're looking at the TV this way, or if we're looking at a TV this way. It just depends on how we're going to set up the basement. But stairs seem pretty good, pretty sturdy, pretty solid, even though each one of the risers and runners are still going to need trimmed down. FedEx just left. I think they just dropped off the router, but I'm not gonna route these now. They're pretty stiff, like I said. 6 screws in each board, so they're not going anywhere. They'll work for now. So right now I'm gonna go look at my plans, get some measurements down, start marking out where all the windows and doors are gonna go. The doors are probably gonna be the first thing that need done. Now, what kind of sucks is I do have an extra bag of concrete left over when I put in the concrete steps underneath of the egress windows there. So let's say right here is the front door. I am gonna have to pour concrete up to the bottom of probably the subfloor, and then I'll probably get another piece of OSB to fit over top of that concrete to bring that OSB all the way out to the outside. So basically it'll just be a little piece of OSB that goes there, the width of the door opening. But I'm probably just going to pour some concrete below that, cut these rebars out, and then that will be where the front door is going to go. I'm going to have to do the same for the garage door, which is right here. I believe I only have to cut these 2 pieces of rebar. And then again, I got to go look at the plans because the back sliding glass door is somewhere over there. And again, all that concrete's going to have to be brought up a little bit so the OSB has something firm to sit on. To protect the OSB from the concrete, I'll probably get the bucket of mastic, lay down a spatula of it, little thin coating, so that way the OSB is off of concrete and it's sitting on top of the rubber mastic. And then I'll go ahead and tap con that piece of OSB down to that concrete through what I pour, and then into the concrete that we already have poured for the walls. I think that's the best way to do it, but if that's too thin and I can't get enough concrete in there, then we'll have to devise another plan. But for right now, I'm gonna go look at the plans, get set up, start busting out one of these corners. Since that has always been the main corner that we've started on everything, we'll probably go ahead and start over there, start working our way this way for the front of the house. Again, figuring out where all the windows and doors are going to go, and then we'll start grabbing that rebar down there, which I believe, again, these were 20 footers, and that's 10'8", and you got probably just under 2 feet there. So there's probably only, like I said, 7 or 8 feet of rebar sitting over there. So we're either in for a long day of twist tying a million pieces of rebar together just to get the first row done, or we're gonna have to figure something else out. So stay tuned, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, fun times. Just got hit with another huge rain delay. I just threw these over real quick to kind of help keep the leaves out of the basement since they all keep blowing in this way, because that was a pretty fast, hard storm that just blew through here like no other. But we've got 3 panels of Nudura down, or actually 4. 3 straights and a corner. What I'm doing now, I'm trying to get the first row as straight as possible, and unfortunately with pouring that Fox block, obviously it's not straight at all. You know, the concrete's going like this. So I started with the outside and threw some OSB panels on to kind of get it straightened up here a little bit, running the level across the outside. Now I'm running the level across this way, and this panel, for example, right now was tilting in a little bit this way. So screwed a 2x4 down to the subfloor, screwed that 2x4, the vertical, down to that one, and kind of just pushed the wall back that way and got it a little bit straighter. I'm sure the bracing will straighten it all completely up, but this is, first row is definitely taking some time. The rebar's going okay. The overlap's not terrible. It'll be a lot easier when you do it on top, because when you're doing it on the bottom for the first row and you're having to pull it up, that's a huge pain in the butt. So far, my impressions of Nudura are not great. So a few things I'm noticing over Fox is, obviously the Nudura becomes folded. It's not the easiest to unfold. When you unfold them, and I don't think I have one, I don't have one unbuttoned right now, but basically when they fold down, you'll have a long edge and you'll have a short edge. Now, when you unfold them, they don't open up and lock. You can unfold them completely to the other side and it will go. So to get them 100% straight with each other isn't exactly the easiest thing. And again, they're a little stiff to unfold, so not a huge fan of that. The clips basically work the same as Fox. You just have to get them into the right spot and clip them down. They're extremely tight to do, but doable. It's kind of the same thing as Fox. Again, you are deleting the vertical going this way, because you do have these little sharp teeth here, which when you put the second row down, they'll lock in. So now you don't have a vertical H clip or HV clip, whatever you want to call it, from whatever manufacturer. What I am not liking about them for sure is Fox blocks on the ends. They have a indentation and a protrusion, and then they reverse it down here and you have an indentation, protrusion, and then same thing over here, and then flips up to here. When you set your panels together, they lock in so that these panels basically can't go front to back and separate. Nudura is 100% flat, so you're relying almost 110% on these clips to work, that you can't basically pull these apart. And obviously, as you can see, I just completely pulled them apart. Now, when you set the next row on here, it'll obviously overlap this seam. That should help that these panels aren't going to want to separate, but I like that Fox block just already has that built in, and it helps with blowouts, because if you try to have a blowout here because it's locked in here, well, it's going to be pretty easy because this panel is completely smooth. There's nothing holding it in that well. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of is the corners are kind of short, and Brian warned me about that. The short runs here are extremely short, so I think your chance of blowout in here, especially again because these panels can separate a little bit easier because there's no internal locking mechanism. We're definitely going to have to reinforce this a lot so that they don't go anywhere. But so far, that's my overall assessment of these versus Fox. These should lock in a little bit better because there's more of them, because instead of going long ways, they're running this way, so you're getting a lot more nubs and divots in here that should help lock these in. So we'll see what happens with the second row, but so far that's my thoughts on Nudura. And real quick over here too, I did decide to leave the Nudura nubs on for the bottom. And as you can see, some of them are pretty high off the concrete. So basically the Nudura is being held up by these. The game plan with these is when obviously this dries out, probably depending on how many I get done today, and if it doesn't rain, you know, tomorrow and the next day, and this all stays dry in here, I'm probably going to go ahead and hit this with spray foam, so that way the block basically gets lifted up or is setting on that kind of rigid spray foam that I'll put in here, so that way all these nubs basically aren't just floating in outer space. Some of them down there are touching, some of them in here just hit or miss whether they're touching or not. I am just using a 4-foot level for these, so I doubt it's 100% accurate at this moment. If it doesn't rain here again, I'll probably bust out the laser level, and then I can go ahead and set this top row as level as possible. And the laser, obviously, it won't lie, so I'll know what I need to do. But I'm banking on, again, the spray foam in here will hold these up off the ground. And then again, I am going to take a bunch of this OSB, rip cut it down to 8-10 inches or so, and then run that all the way down here as a complete solid piece, just 8 foot at a time. And then we'll attach the Nudura to the Fox blocks. That foam will be in there too, and then that'll get this to hold up a lot more, so that when we do pour concrete down in here, this panel is not trying to fall down and remake contact. That spray foam and these OSB panels that will be rip cut this way will be holding it up off the ground. So that is the game plan, but things may change. We'll have to see. We may even have to put some shims under there, depending how heavy that is and how much that moves. I don't know. Usually the footers that you put those on are a heck of a lot smoother than just bringing them up in the air. And I know that corner's a little bit taller than that corner over there, because when we were putting the subfloor down, the Fox block was a little off. But I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll keep knocking them out and go from there and see what we got to do. All right, so another day coming to a close, and actually we're going to wrap this video up here. We've got pretty much the whole layout done. So as you can see here, again in the mud room, coming in from the door, from the garage, we've got a window coming through to light up the mud room, which will light up going all the way through here into the kitchen and dining room and stuff. The front door is in, so you can see how big that is and where it's going. And then we've got a window that's going to help illuminate going down the stairs, and then a window for the master closet. Now we've got no windows on this wall, and actually you can't really see these windows yet because they're not in, but I want to get this first level here all the same height with the laser level tomorrow before I start doing any more, because it just makes the blocks too heavy and stuff. But back here, there will be a picture window that will be from basically here. Actually, let me phrase that. It's a picture window in the middle with two casement windows. So one will go there, then a picture, then a casement. And that entire window will start roughly in that corner and will go 12 foot 11, basically over to here somewhere. So that is a massive opening in this ICF wall. There'll be another little window here for a den office that'll be looking out that way. And then that is the rear sliding glass door, also very large. In fact, that is 7 foot 5 3/4, minus obviously a 2x10 there and a 2x10 there. Cuts you down to 7 foot 7 2 3/4. So that is a very large walkout or sliding glass door. And then same thing over here for the dining room and this living room kind of area is another, from that corner over to here, another 12 foot 11 3/4 massive opening for, again, a casement window, a fixed picture window, and then another casement window. And then for the garage, that is all solid except obviously for the door. So that's basically it. Again, we'll give you a better layout of where everything's going to go once we get these walls up. But at least for today, we have a rough idea. The rebar actually went really well, obviously because you got such short runs in here. So it's nice to have some that are already smaller that you can cut, or not even cut. You can just make a greater overlap instead of 30 inches. And they don't stick out where the windows are or where any of the doors are. So it worked out pretty good. So yeah, we're going to pretty much wrap this up here. So tomorrow we'll get the laser level. We'll get this first row and these three over here completely level with each other. And then we'll start plugging away and knocking it out from there. So we will see you guys all tomorrow. Not in this video. We'll restart another one and maybe throw something else into you. So that way you're not just seeing constant stacking of blocks, because it's pretty boring and it's nothing new and exciting. But please like and subscribe. Hit us up on Instagram at NeckofTheWoods 2020 if you guys have any questions and you want to message us a little bit easier. And we will see you guys all later. Take care.